Beam has become the upcoming creator this year.
I wanna make some noise.
He has mastered social hacking with grand spectacle builds, and he is trying to become a storyteller. I remember when he tweeted he was about to publish the best video he had ever made, and even DM'd me saying, I hope you're gonna be proud of this video.
I wasn't proud of this video.
Oh no.
Honestly, I couldn't even get through 3 minutes or 30 seconds of it, and I tried. For me, I'm gonna come in and roast the hell out of your editing.
I'm terrified.
I'm currently in the middle of the ocean and I'm surrounded by sharks. My goal is to survive the next 50 hours lost at sea, but first, I have to make it to that boat.
Honestly, it's probably one of my most proud intros. I started off in the water, surrounded by sharks, and had to swim to the boat. I think there's just so much action that it kind of pulls you in.
This intro can be better. This shot for me is not a very, very effective shot because we are looking in towards the center of the frame. And then this, since it's not very distinguishable, I'm having to look around a lot what's going on. You do a great job with the compensating with the arrow. It feels kind of patronizing a little bit for audiences, but I'm also forgiving because you're also filming in the middle of an ocean. It's probably quite difficult to get the shots you need when you're surrounded by sharks.
I never thought I would say this, but this is the life of a YouTuber. Like, we wanted the sharks to come as close as possible to me.
The one thing I want to mention here though, my goal is to spend the next 50 hours lost at sea. I feel like it's a little bit out of place. You're surrounded by sharks and you're still waddling around. It kind of diminishes the threat a little bit in my opinion.
I mean, I shot that intro probably 17 times.
That feels like a Murder Your Darlings moment. You put in a lot of effort to get that shot so you feel compelled to put it in the edit. If I was editing this, I would have pushed to cut that. And there is a specific reason as to why I think this intro could have been a lot more impactful without that statement, and I'll show you that in a little bit. But for this next sequence unfortunately frustrates me the most.
I have to make it to that boat. Ah, you better hurry. I don't need this. This is terrifying. Stop. The boat is so far away. That is terrifying.
It's incoherent. You're using fast cutting to generate a sense of tension. In theory, that is a very, very good tool to use. But for me, it feels very much similar to this scene from Taken 3 of him jumping over a fence. What was that? It was him jumping over a fence and there was 17 cuts. Fast cuts doesn't mean intensity, it's actually just incoherent visual noise. To an extent, this is a similar thing for me. A lot of the cuts feel very disconnected. Each shot was not reacting to each other. The other aspect towards this is look how Jaws did their climatic sequence. Shark's getting closer, setting a sense of space. Did you see that? It's like we see the tank and therefore he's trying to shoot it. Therefore, there was a reaction there. He shot the bullet and then we saw the bullet go through the water and the shark took over the frame. The shots are responding to each other. Quicker cut. 1, 2, 3. The cuts started getting a lot more faster because the shark's getting closer towards us. And then with this huge height of like pure terror, is he about to get killed?
You son of a...
Bang!
How satisfying is that? This is Steven Spielberg we're talking about. I'm not saying you'd be able to do the same thing Steven Spielberg, but that's what I mean in terms of, that is the goal.
But for some reason, we kind of felt like the story really starts on the boat. So do you want to get to the boat technically faster? Do you like the water scene? Or like, where do you think the story starts technically?
I love the fact that you've answered that question because yes, 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 and yes. Let me tell you what I think this could have done. A cold open. The movie The Matrix, it does a whole 10-minute sequence where we see Trinity running away from these agents and not a single question is answered. I want to know the answer, and that is now giving me a retention and attention attitude towards this. So I don't have the actual footage, but all of that should have been gone. You're in the middle of the ocean without any context. Let's just see how this feels with the removal of context.
That is terrifying.
And now you motivate the video.
So this is where I'll be spending the next 50 hours.
In a retention standpoint, you just cut down the video even faster and made it better. So it's actually...
I use story to optimize the retention. That's what I mean. Retention and storytelling, to an extent, is the same word.
That's what I love about like how you see videos and stuff. Like the video has no script at this point, and you can just edit it freely and just kind of reinvent it so much. It's not forced to what the shots are. It's just kind of how you edit it.
You allow the footage to tell you what to do. What you need to do is to tell the footage what you want want it to do. Now we've got the intro sorted out, let's figure out what's going on with the story here.
I feel like this is when it's gonna get bad.
This is when it gets interesting.
So this is where I'll be spending the next 50 hours on this small boat, all by myself in the middle of nowhere.
Why are you shouting? I'm stuck in the middle of the ocean. If you are in pure, genuine fear, how would your body language actually be?
You see that shot right there before? So I record that bit, I put the camera down, throw up.
Why didn't we see that?
Then I cut that out because it feels like, why would somebody do that? So like, you ever feel that way too?
I fundamentally disagree with all of that. You cutting to the moments of the vulnerability, you cutting to the moments where you're not able to handle this, that makes me go, he's not gonna make it. But you cut out those emotional moments. But I want those emotional moments. And I would have then cut out the you shouting.
It is so hot out here. I barely have any items to survive. I have this flare gun with no bullets inside of it, so that's great. I have a knife. That might come in handy for something, maybe. Some sunscreen. I have this paddle to eventually maybe paddle me back to land, which I don't think is gonna happen.
Cut that.
Yes. Do any of those tools come back to serve the story?
Yeah, they don't.
They don't. So what we're working towards here is what we call the story economy. If you're setting up some tools in Act 1 or some concepts in Act 1, they should pay off in Act 3. Here's a flare gun and you're actually sick of this. You give up. You get the flare gun and there's nothing. So you're truly stuck. Yeah. If those moments happened when filming, then you should have done those. So in that case, all of that should have been cut because it doesn't serve the story.
One thing I need to get working on is shade. If I can set this up above me somehow, I'll be able to have a lot more shade. It's so rocky. It's gonna be impossible to set this up out here by myself. I've managed to set most of—
Okay, I've done it. That is the big theme of all of this. You're telling us everything. You have the capability to show us this.
Yeah, that I told everyone everything, but that doesn't mean it's a good story.
It doesn't mean it's a good story.
And sometimes just trusting myself more too. Trusting the shots, not adding voiceover. So far, every voiceover that we've added has been useless.
Time for my friends to officially leave me in the middle of the ocean. At this point, I realized how dangerous the ocean is. Luckily, I found something that will help with the extreme—
I would have cut out all of this voiceover so far. But I think one thing for here—
First bathroom break on the boat was a success.
Kind of a weird edit.
Kind of weird edit, but you're still shouting as well. And then you also do this. What is that? What is that little hair thing there?
I do that all the time.
If you're in a panicking situation, you're not gonna particularly care about what's going on with your hair and about how you look on camera. You're trying to survive, but this tells me that you're chilling.
I was feeling super sick. The team had a different problem.
He's out there in the middle of nowhere and we're on land. So what are we gonna eat?
5-star restaurant, of course. We are eating good.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting the lobster tail. I'm feeling a steak.
Now let's see what we got to eat. We have lasagna with meat sauce or breakfast skillet.
You would probably argue not to even do this at all, but if I was to do it earlier.
Actually pitch me what you wanted this narrative to be.
I wanted it to be an experience where there was one person really challenging themselves, going through something insane, and then on the opposite spectrum, you have people having like the best, most amazing. So we were trying to emphasize how horrible it was for me by showing them having a great time.
What you're trying to do is contrast storytelling. I really like that you're trying to do that. I think the execution is the reason why this doesn't work as well as it could have been.
As I was prepping to eat, my friend's 5-star meal arrived.
Oh, delicious.
So there it is. It's basically just powdered food with noodles. I'm not sure if you're supposed to cook this or eat it dry, but I don't really have a choice, so this is not good at all.
This salad is bomb.
This is so good. I can tell you're wearing half of it. Gotta save it for later.
Here's a structure how this could have been. Look at this powdered noodle. This looks horrible. We then cut to the steak. Wow, this is delicious. We cut to the guy about to take a big bite of the steak, and then we cut to you. Oh, this is horrible. That contrast cutting could have made that moment a lot more emphasizing. And that's also, again, another story showing moment.
Yep. So you're telling me I'm about to go on that thing? Oh, Big Matt, you're killing it, boy! This is so much fun! I wonder what Matt's doing right now.
It's hour 25, which means even though I'm halfway done, I still have 25 miserable hours ahead.
Why are you shouting? And you did it again. You're doing the hair thing again. These guys are having the best time of their life. Them having a great time at the peak of their cuts. We then should have then cut to tripod shots of you being lonely as well. And the music's not quite supporting it. How would you feel if in the montage we probably used some songs like this?
You're killing it!
For you could have something like this.
It makes you want to cry?
Yeah. Just by contrasting those two different songs, we then get this sequence.
You're killing it!
See what I mean?
Are these all copyrighted or no?
They are, but you can license them. Your music can generate a huge quality in your storytelling, and Licked can actually help you find the best track for your story. Licked lets creators license the pop music that we know and love. Songs like Walking on Sunshine, they're available for you to license. Licked has artists like Glass Animals, Charlie Puth, Imagine Dragons, and Oliver Tree. And the best part is you will not get a copyright strike. You can use that song and still monetize your video. And you can get 50% off your first chart track and 14 days free of stock music using this link. So that's what I mean by using music to help emphasize and tell your story. And that would have been a really great way of emphasizing your loneliness by using music to emphasize how isolated and lonely you are.
Once the sun finally set, it was time for my first night lost at sea. There's no way I'm gonna sleep good tonight, but I'll see you in the morning.
I need to feel lonely here.
The music's not right.
And the time lapses don't tell that story. It's not a particularly good emotional transition.
Kind of went by too fast.
Went by too fast. So I don't feel the isolation. I don't feel the loneliness. I don't feel the despair that you are in because the editing is not telling me that. Titanic does a really great example of that. We are having this grand big spectacle of this ship sinking and it feels like the whole world is ending. But James Cameron cuts this one very specific shot here. And it cuts to this extreme wide shot.
So small.
And it's, yeah, so small and it's pure silence.
Because I mean, even in that shot, the close-up with the Titanic there, it looks like a massive city that's just like, could hold millions of people. And then if they never did that, you wouldn't get the true sense of how actually small it is. So.
Exactly, and that really makes how pointless and how insignificant this entire disaster is. And I want that for you. I want you to feel small, and I don't get that. I think you could have done something similar here.
There's no way I'm gonna sleep good tonight, but I'll see you in the morning.
The editing should tell me how you are feeling during that night's sleep, and that should have been that moment.
I bet you could edit this in like iMovie or Movie Maker with just cuts and make a better story than people can with the most amazing software in the world, because in most of this so far, the cuts are the most important part.
That's what I've been roasting the most. It's like the cuts and the sequences and how you move things around. There is not good emotion in this, and so I'm giving ideas of how you can express the emotion by how you just genuinely change the shots, what you cut out and what you keep to help emphasize that story.
Starting to get really bad out here again.
Yeah, you're using it's too much shots. You're using fast rhythm again to dictate tension when it's, for me, visual noise. What this whole video has been is a very fast and aggressive video throughout. The whole video in terms of cutting is dialed up to a 10. The issue that I think I have with this in the current meta of YouTube is if everything's dialed up to a 10, then nothing is actually a 10. Why do you think in your mind you have to feel compelled for everything in this whole video to be a 10 and not have moments where the dial's probably turned down to a 2 or a 3?
So I'm trying to match like a TikTok style content and long form way where I don't trust people's attention spans, where it's like, okay, I gotta get through the sharks, I gotta get this, I gotta get that. And in reality though, if you think about it, go against myself here, if they're clicking a video that they see it's that long and stuff, maybe they are willing to take that chance and they did click the video. That's the one thing I don't like about YouTube nowadays, even though I'm all in on it and I do it that way. We acknowledge that the people are clicking the video to watch it, but we don't trust ourselves that they actually want to watch it and discover it and find it out and stuff. So the way the world's going with the short form content, it kind of is making long form a little bit more challenging. So it goes back to your points of just telling that really good story to keep them wanting it, because on TikToks and shorts and stuff, you're just not going to get that story that you potentially could have here.
TikTok has told us that it has to be fast. Fast cutting doesn't give us a sense of emotional experience or emotional investment, because by the time we're trying to process what just happened, we're moving on to the next emotional beat. But because we're spending too much fast time on that emotional beat, we don't actually have a time to invest in that one. And so there is just constant visual noise. I feel, okay, kind of obligated to keep on watching rather than being emotionally engaged to keep on watching. What it really should be is we're not having to learn how to tell the content fast. It really genuinely means is how can we find out how to tell the content better? The true secret to retention, to attention, is to get me emotionally engaged and to bottom line, make me care. But despite all of this, there is still one big element that we need to change.
What's that?
We need to cut that hair.
No! I wanna make some noise. I wanna make some more.
Why are you shouting?